So the Mataji will present and I'll just share some feedback. If anybody else has also comments, you can add. We don't have a lot of time because it's like 10-12 minutes presentation and 1 minute question and answer if there is, and feedback 2-3 minutes, so that so today we have 6 people, 5 people. Yeah, I think 140 minutes should be 20 minutes per person.
Oh, it says share. The PowerPoint is restricted. Second row.
We can see your screen.
I can see the screen, right? But when I put
Zoom, you share in Zoom.
Yeah, no, it's coming. Now you're able to see?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thanks for giving us the opportunity for the presentation of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, as a part of Bhakti Shastri. Vancha kalpataropyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vranda ki jai, Namacharya Das Thakur ki jai. So today we are going to, all of us are going to present about the chapter 8 Bhagavad Gita, the conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. And here it's like, it's a summary of all the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and the Bhakti Yoga, which we learned in the previous chapters. So the first part, and Prabhupada relates it to the summary of the chapters called Smile. And the first one is summary of the Karma Yoga that starts from the 18.1 to 18.12. That's what I'm going to cover from the shlokas from 18.1 to 9. That is freedom from bondage through Karma Yoga. And the overall theme, the 18.1, Arjuna's inquiry on sannyasa and tyaga. He has further doubts. So on whatever Krishna explained in the previous Karma Yoga section, and he again asks for the inquires about the difference between sannyasa and tyaga, and also the explanation and definitions. And in from 18.2 to 6, Krishna defines sannyasa and tyaga. He gives 2 opinions on tyaga and then his own opinion in one shloka. And in 18.7 and 18.9, he talks about renunciation in 3 modes. That is mode of ignorance, passion, and the mode of goodness. So in 18.1, Arjuna inquires on sannyasa and tyaga. He addresses Krishna as the Keshi Nishudana. That means Krishna has killed the demon Keshi, and the killer of Keshi demon, and Arjuna calls him as Keshi because he's expecting Krishna to kill the demon of his doubt, which he has about the tyaga and sannyasa, renunciation. And Arjuna wanted to know about sannyasa and tyaga that Krishna spoke earlier, that have different or similar meanings. And in the 18.2, Krishna defines about the sannyasa and tyaga. So, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam Sannyasam Kavayo Viduho Sarva Karma Phala Tyagam Prahus Tyagam Vichakshanaha. Krishna talks about sannyasa. Sannyasa is nothing but the giving up of activities that are based on material desire. Kamya karmas is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyasa. And tyaga is, instead of giving up the activities, it's just the giving up the results of activities is what the wise people also called it as renunciation. That is tyaga. And there are 2 kind of karmas. It's nitya karma and the kamya karma. And the difference is, what is nitya karma is, it's daily obligatory activities prescribed by scriptures. That is nitya karma. And for example of the nitya karma is the Gayatri, which we recite daily, and the Brahmanas who recite Sandhya Vandana, and all the other mantras which they recite daily as a part of the Nitya daily activities. That comes under the Nitya karma. And the Kamya karma is activities of fulfilling particular personal desires. For example, there are some activities which people want to do for their own sense gratification. For example, having a good son. They want to have, people want to do yajnas for having a good son, and they also do yajnas for going to some. There is one homam called Jyotish homam, which they do for going to the higher planetary systems or going to the heaven. So if you're desiring something and doing the activities, that comes under kamya karmas. And some the people who are under the category of sannyasa, they perform nitya karmas, but they give up the kamya karmas because that are come mostly they come under the sense gratification or for the material benefits. But people who are in the tyaga category, they do the nitya karmas, but not seeking the results. And the same kamya karmas also, they do the activities for kamya karmas, but they do not they do not seek the results of it. Same sannyasa, people in the sannyasa category also, they perform nitya karmas, but do not seek the results of it or wait through the fruits of the activities. Two opinions about Krishna in 18.3 talks about two opinions about tyaga. So one is give up all fruitive activities as faulty because there is possibility of violence in the acts of sacrifice. For example, the animal sacrifice that comes under this. Sometimes if we want to do for a fruitive activity, we kill the animal. That may involve violence. So that is those kind of fruitive activities we have to give up. And the second opinion about tyaga is never give up the acts of sacrifice, yajna, charity, that is sacrifice, that is yajna, charity, dana, and austerity, tapa, because one incurs no sin from performing what is prescribed in the Vedas, even if it involves violence. For example, the austerity, tapa, and yajna, when we do, we may knowingly or not knowingly do some, kill some ants or animals, but they are prescribed in the Vedas. Since it's okay to do, we should not give up all those things because they give us some purity on the return. So they should not be given up. And 1 second. And renouncement is in Krishna consciousness, goodness in terms of modes of nature. Basically, there are three modes. Like the renunciation is done in the three modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Those are covered from the verses detailed from 18.7 to 18.9. So now we'll talk about the 18.5. Here Krishna says, Yajnadana tapah karma natyajam karyam evatat yajnodanam tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam. So never give up acts of sacrifice, charity, and austerity. That's what Krishna tells here. And sacrifice, charity, and austerity purify even the great souls. So they should be never given up. So here Prabhupada gives suggestions to yogis, advanced souls, and sannyasis that they must perform acts for advancement of human society. Example of such purificatory process, for example, marriage ceremony, that is Vivaha Yajna, it's done to regulate the human so that it becomes peaceful for spiritual advancement. For example, the people who wants to get married, they should not do any artificial renouncement and take sannyas, and so that it should not be artificial renouncement. Rather, Prabhupada says they should be given the marriage ceremony, that is Vivah Yajna, and sannyasis should help them conduct all those things and regulate them in the spiritual process by getting them into Vivaha Yajna. And even here, Radheshyam Prabhu's lecture, Prabhu told us, I heard from Prabhu that even Prabhupada, during his time when he was in US, he got 3 couples married. He gave this marriage yajna to 3 individual couples. and one of them was Malati Mataji. Because when they get married and they work cooperated with their husband, and then they can also do it in a proper way and get their spiritual advancement. That's what Prabhupada is trying to tell here. And Bhagavad Gita 18.6. Here we have to do it without attachment or doership mentality, and without expectation of result, and as a matter of duty. That's how our duties should be performed. And for the purpose of purification of one's existence, everything that leads to Krishna consciousness must be encouraged. And in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6, there is a Savai Pumsham, that shloka. The highest criteria of religion is anything which leads to devotional service. The final end result is everything should lead to the devotional service, whatever duties or activities we perform. And practical applications in this is, regardless of his personal level of advancement, the spiritualist always encourage the following of purificatory practices. All this yajna, tapa, and like charity, they should be done. And next comes the three renunciation in the three modes. And 18.7, here Prabhupada talks about the renunciation in the mode of ignorance. So prescribed duties should never be renounced. Giving up prescribed duties because of illusion is in the mode of ignorance. Here Prabhupada talks about two different examples, cooking and a marriage ceremony. For example, a person who cooks for his own sense gratification is in the mode of ignorance, definitely. And the same cooking, if he does for the pleasure of the deities or pleasure of Lord, and he offers it to the Lord and then gives it, then it is okay. But only who does it for the sense gratification is in the mode of ignorance. Same, the sannyasis, they do not get married, but they should all encourage the marriage ceremony for the elevation of the human beings to the for their spiritual enhancement. They have to conduct this marriage ceremonies, but rather they should not deny this marriage ceremonies or do not discourage people from the grihasthas taking the marriage ceremony. Then that is, if they discourage the grihasthas taking the vivaha yajna, then that is the mode of ignorance. So the main purpose of this karma yoga, the sannyasis have to cooperate and they have to do this marriage ceremony for the people. This promote one to the spiritual activity. That way, the grihasthas also can advance and dedicate the results of their fruits of the activities to Krishna and perform their act and grow very well in the Krishna consciousness path. And next is renunciation in the mode of passion. Giving up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort. That is in the mode of passion. For example, Krishna consciousness, giving up earning money out of fear, that is fruitive activity. People think that it's a fruitive activity and give up earning money, and that is not recommended. One should work very well in a firm and then make money and then engage the money in the Krishna consciousness. And raising early in the morning is also troublesome result of the passionate work, because people get involved into their passionate work culture, and then they kind of work till late night and do not wake up early in the morning, and they kind of go down in their spirit, they degrade themselves in the spiritual path. That one does not elevate in renunciation. So Prabhupada, so in Radheshyam Prabhu, one of the classes, he says that if one does not wake up in the during the morning Brahma Muhurta time, then is burning his karma, or like he is degrading in the path of spiritual realization. So people in the mode of passion, they should elevate themselves in the renunciation path, and they should try to minimize their work and balance their lives in such a way that they can progress in the Krishna conscious path. And renunciation in the mode of goodness. Performing prescribed duty because it is ought to be done, renouncing all material associations and all attachment to the fruit. So, for example, a man working in a factory, does not associate himself with the work of the factory, not with the workers of the factory, simply works for Krishna and gives the result to Krishna, thus situated on transcendental platform. So even though it's very tiring and frustrating, he should not be renounce his work. Rather, he should simply think that he's working for Krishna and give the money which he's earning for the building the temples and the welfare of Krishna conscious activities. Same one time, actually, Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji ji, he wanted to, when he met Saint Tukaram, he wanted to renounce everything and he wanted to take shelter of Krishna. But Saint Tukaram told Shivaji that, like, you are a Kshatriya. Shat means to protect. So Kshatriya's role is to protect the welfare of the people, and you can still take care of the people and do your duties, and then you can dedicate the results of your work to the Lord Krishna. That way you're doing your duties, and Krishna is also pleased with you. Since Chhatrapati Shivaji ji, so he took the advice of Saint Tukaram and he did his duties very well and he got a very good, glorious name. Same like Arjuna also, he didn't want to fight, but Krishna asked him to fight because as he is a Kshatriya and that's his duty. And he asked him to dedicate the results of his activities or the fight which he's doing to Krishna, Lord Krishna. And he also listened to whatever he surrendered to Krishna and listened to Lord Krishna very well and its duties. That's in the mode of goodness. And the practical application in this chapter, which I got, it was the points. Acting with detachment is true renunciation and brings freedom from reaction. One should renounce the fruit of work, not work itself. That's the practical points I observe. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
This was a good presentation overall. You kept to the time.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Kept to the time and also have important points noted in each verse.
Okay.
The flow is also good. It can be a little more, connecting the verses can be even more polished, but that's fine. And you also
Yeah, I had very less time to prepare, Prabhu, this time, so I was not very happy, but still, yeah.
and
Yeah, Prabhu.
especially when we transition chapters, we can tell what was covered in the previous chapter and what is going to be covered. What is the context? Why this verse is beginning now? That can be covered. That's just feedback. And yeah, I think overall it's good. We can start the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very excellent. Sorry, please go ahead.
Congratulations for your first presentation completion.
So let's see who is the next in the list.
I'm the next one.
Yeah. 10 to 21.
Very nice, Mataji. Sakripriya Mataji. Excellent, Mataji. Very nicely summarized everything. Crystal clear. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Please, my screen visit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. There was so much silence I had with it. Okay, I just want to check if I take my notes. Do you see only the PPT or do you see my notes?
See the PPT.
Only the PPT, okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this opportunity. And today I'm going to present Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, verses 10 to 21 as part of Bhakti Shastri. And I would like to first give my, thanks to His Grace Radhishan Prabhu, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and Gaurav Darshan Prabhu for all the content that I've taken from their classes and presentations, without which I don't think I can do this. And to Srila Prabhupada, of course, from Veda base and all the details that you've given. Moving on. So this is how the the flow of the verses is going to be, just to give a heads up on what we're going to cover. See, uh, first Krishna talks about how a renouncer looks at the work. We will go into details of all of this. These are the verses that I'm going to cover today. First, how the renouncer looks at the work, and then what exactly does he do to renounce. The do's, basically the do's to renounce is discussed. And then if the don'ts are followed, like, if we don't renounce, what happens is discussed in 18.12. And then Krishna first introduces, just gives a heads up on, there are 5 causes or the factors of actions. He just gives a heads up. And then he comes and lists details in 18.14, all the 5 factors of action. Then he talks about tells us that he declares that all these actions that we are doing are caused by these factors that he has listed in 18.14. So 18.15 was more like a declaration. And then on 18.16, he says, like, in the 16 and 17, he's going to talk about how a doership mentality is going to be and a non-doership mentality is going to be. And someone who ignores these factors that are listed in 18.14 are considered foolish. And what happens to them is given there. And in 18.17, he talks about whoever considers these factors and without false ego when they are doing, what happens, which is non-binding, which is discussed in 18.17. And then 18.18, 19 are like, basically 18.18, he gives 2 sections of it. One is 3 motivators of action and 3 constituents of action, which we will see. And then Krishna moves on to the 3 modes of material nature and the knowledge, action, and performer under those 3 modes of material nature. So those in 18.19, he just gives a heads up again, saying that, there are knowledge and action and performer in these 3 modes. And then 20 and 21, he goes in detail. 20 is about knowledge in mode of goodness, and 21 is about knowledge in mode of passion. Because this is my syllabus for today, so I will stop at 18.21. This is the flow that we are going to see today. I tried my best because I thought 10 minutes was the time, so I kind of shrunk as much as possible. I don't know if it's too small. Okay. 18.10, where we talked about, if you see this, was how renouncer looks at the work. Krishna says that a wise renunciant, who he refers as Medhavi, and who is in mode of goodness, he neither gets attached to the auspicious work nor the hours of the inauspicious work. So basically, the takeaway from this verse is unattached, or a renunciant person is neither attached nor either attached to auspicious work or non-attached or inauspicious work. He sees everything in the same lens. Let me see if I have any that. Yeah, that's what is talked about here. And in 18.11, Krishna says, like, only who is truly renounced. Okay, 18 point here he's talking about what exactly does he do, what exactly does he renounce, like, here the one which is who is truly renounced, when he renounces the fruits of action and not the action itself. So basically, as Sakitpriya mentioned in the previous verse, we can never renounce the action itself, but we can only try to renounce the fruits of the action. So that's what is mentioned in 18.11. And there is a relationship that Krishna mentioned early in the Bhagavad Gita, and verse 3.5. It says that even for a moment we cannot refrain from doing anything. The verse actually goes like, everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So even for a moment, we cannot be idle or not do anything. So we don't have to worry about renouncing the actions, but instead we should try to renounce the fruits of the action. That's what 18.11. The takeaway here is work cannot be given up, but fruits of action can be given up. If we can remember this, if at least I can remember this, I think I understood this verse. Then Krishna talks about, we go back, for non-renunciant, what is the result after death? The don'ts. For a non-renounced person with who is Atyaginam, his action leads to three kinds of results, which can be Ishtam, Anishtam, and Mishram. One can be desirable, which will lead him to heaven. Anishtam is undesirable, which might lead him to hell, and Mishram is mixed, which is a human birth. So anyone who's attached to his work, to his actions and karma, he has a bondage. So he will take birth in the next life, and he has to either enjoy or suffer the results. So that's a problem that we will have if we have attachment to our actions. But if we renounce the fruits of the actions, then we are liberated and we are not bound to the actions that we are doing right now. So that's what Krishna talks about here, saying what happens if we are attached to it, to the don'ts of it, basically. So ideally, the takeaway here is we should not be attached to the work, or so that we don't come back and enjoy or suffer the results. Instead, we should offer it to the Lord or do it everything for the Lord and not be bound by it. Moving on, if you see, Krishna talks about, now he says just 5 causes of all action, and then he will list the 5 causes. So here he just introduces the concept of 5 reasons that are for the accomplishment of all actions. So we'll not go much detail into that. 18.14 is where he introduces those 5 factors, which is Adhishtanam. These are 5 factors involved in any action. Adhishtanam, the place of action or the physical body of the jiva. Sorry for the typo, it's jiva, not jiva. And karta, the doer of the action or the consciousness in which we are doing. And karana, the instrument of actions, which is basically the senses that we deploy to do those actions. And then cheshta, the different efforts that we do. And daiva, the super soul who sanctions everything. So these are the 5 factors that play a role for any action. And here, this is 18.14, right? Yeah. Krishna says, any Krishna conscious person knows that these are the 5 factors of action and does not have false ego that he is the doer. Hence, there is no bondage for the Krishna conscious person. Example is cricket playing. I think this is the example that Radhesham Prabhu gave. Like Adhishtanam is kind of a place where we play. Like either it can be the body of the person who's playing, or also the materially we see the ground that where we are playing. Karta is the person or the person who's playing, like batting, bowling, and things like that. Karanam is the instruments or the ball, bat, or the various senses that we use to play and things like that. And the different efforts we do, like fielding, bowling, and all the efforts that we try to do. And all of this is possible only by the sanction of the Supreme, which is Daiva. So if a cricket match, even if a small cricket match has to happen, which has to happen by the sanction of the Lord and with the cooperation of all these 5 factors. Otherwise, even a cricket match cannot happen. So forget, in any, that is applicable to all the actions or activities that we have tried to perform. In 18.15, we talk about, declares that all actions are caused by these factors. This is again, Krishna just says like whatever right, which is nyayam, or whatever is wrong action, viparita, a man performs by his mind, body, and speech. Sharira, vak, manobir. These 3 things, whether it is nyayam or viparitam, it is caused by these factors. So Krishna is linking these factors with the right thing and the wrong thing, and the factors that we use like mind, body, and speech. And when we say right work and wrong work, it means anything is called right work when it is in line with scriptures, and wrong work when it is against scriptural injunctions. And Jiva's actions takes place by sanction of the Lord with the help of senses given by the Lord. So apart from us, our senses, our physical body and all that, apart from that, it is the Lord's sanction that is the most important. One who sees only Jiva as the doer is a foolish. That's what is coming up in the upcoming verses. And then 16, if we see, He talks about the next two verses. We're going to talk about doership mentality and non-doership mentality. Doership is who ignores these factors as foolish. And I mean, I can say I am foolish because till I prepared for this presentation, I really didn't think, though I have attended classes, it didn't get into my head that, these factors play a role. So I feel like I am also foolish that way. And I also have this doership mentality. After this presentation, even when I am doing brushing or small things that I try to remind, even small activities, all these 5 factors are applicable. And then Krishna talks about non-doer mentality, where without false ego, how we do the work. So here, one who thinks himself the doer, not considering the 5 factors, certainly foolish, who is called Durmati. And due to impure intelligence, Akrita Buddhitwan, that person cannot see things as they are. Like a blind man, how he cannot see things. The person who do not consider these 5 factors is considered Durmati, and he cannot see the things as is. And 16, the doer doesn't understand that the super soul is sitting as a friend and conducting his actions. These are from Prabhupada's purport, basically. And though there are these 4 factors, like, the other 4 things that we saw, apart from super soul, the final cause is Krishna. One who does not see the supreme thinks himself as the doer. So that's where we go wrong. So 17 goes as the non-doer mentality, where one who's not motivated by false ego, Naham Krito, and whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor he is bound by his action. Here, Krishna actually ties his instructions to Arjuna, because here he says, like, in this verse, Lord informs Arjuna that the desire not to fight arises from false ego of Arjuna, thinking himself to be the doer of action, but he did not consider the supreme sanction that Krishna has given him to fight. But one who knows, like for us, for example, but one who knows that he is just an instrument and Lord only sanctions everything, then we are not in illusion. Once we understand that this is based on the sanction of the Lord, then we are not in illusion. The example that Srila Prabhupada gives is the soldier. When a soldier fights in a war field with the sanction of the king, then his killing of his enemies is sanctioned and it is not bound. He doesn't get bad karma for that. But at the same time, when he comes out of the war field and if he does killing on his own, whims and fancies, then that is not sanctioned. Then he has to be bound for his action. So that's what Prabhupada talks here as an example for 18.17. Then Krishna moves on, and here he talks about the 3 motivators and the constituents of action. The 3 motivators of action are Jnanam, Neyam, and Parigyata. I don't know if I'm saying this right, which is nothing but knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower. So knowledge, for example, this is one example that his Grace Father Shankarabhu gave, like studying of engineering is the knowledge that we are trying to get. And the object of knowledge, or why we want to get the knowledge, is sometimes not to just learn engineering, but to get a job, make a living in the future. So that's one motivator for us to do that action. There are people who are there to study only engineering, which is good, but most of the cases it is more to have a living. And the knower, which is Parigyata, who is the person studying engineering. So these are the 3 motivators of actions. And within the same verse, Krishna also talks about 3 constituents of action, which is karma, karanam, and karta. Karma is the work that we do. Karanam, as we talked in the previous verse, is the instruments or the senses. And karta is the worker or the doer, whoever is doing this work. So that is what is covered in 18.18. And before one acts, there is some impetus, which is called inspiration, right? First, one has to undergo the psychological process of thinking, feeling, and willing. Before I cook, I have to first think, okay, what do I want to cook? Why do I want to cook? Either for offering or my kids have asked and things like that. So the process of psychological motivation is what is covered in this 3 motivators of action. And then when the inspiration is there and the worker is there, say the person who's doing it, the cooking, and then the actual activity takes place by the help of the senses, like, with my hands and all the utensils and stuff like that, we do cooking, and that's where the activity happens, the karma, karanam, and karta. The sum total of all the constituents of activity is called the accumulation of work. So everything together is what accumulates the work. That's what is described in 18. And then if we see 19, 20, 21, here this is 19 is more like an introduction, like saying knowledge in mode of knowledge, action, and performance in 3 modes of material nature, that is goodness, passion, and ignorance. And then Krishna is going to talk about goodness and passion with respect to knowledge. So here, this is something which we all know. 19 is, like Krishna starts to talk about 3 kinds of that I told about, so I'm not going to go in detail. 20 is knowledge in mode of goodness. The knowledge by which one sees spirit, soul in every living entity, irrespective of their body, either demigod, human, bird, animal, etc. Then only then the knowledge is in mode of goodness. Though the bodies are perishable, the soul is imperishable. If we have this knowledge, then we are in mode of goodness. And then Krishna talks about knowledge of passion, where knowledge which thinks that with the destruction of the body, like with the destruction of the body, the soul is also destroyed. If that's the kind of knowledge we have, then we should be aware that that knowledge is in the mode of passion. And in the knowledge in mode of passion, body is considered as a soul. Like especially, for example, before I came into Krishna consciousness, I also thought, like, if a person dies, then everything is done. There is nothing after that. So that's kind of a mode of that no knowledge in mode of passion, where body is considered as soul, and that's the end of it. So I'm sure the following devotees will be talking about knowledge in mode of ignorance and so on. So this is what it is. So I just want to quickly summarize. Mainly, we have to see, like, the work. We should not get attached to whether it is an auspicious work or it is an inauspicious work. And a person should be renouncing the fruits of the action of the work and not the action itself. And for the non-renouncer, non-renouncer of action or non-renouncer of the fruits of the action, they have to take birth again, and they are bound after the death. And we talk about the 5 factors of action, with this adhishtanam, karta, karanam, cheshta. Always remember that these 5 factors are involved, and on top of all of this, on top of, between all of this 5, Daivam is the supreme reason that we have to be always aware of. And we should always think, whenever we keep forgetting these factors, we should have to remember ourselves as, at least myself, as foolish, Durmati. And then always remember these, there is, for any accumulation of work, there is 3 motivators of action and 3 constituents of action. And whoever is having false ego and thinks himself as a doer is foolish. And as we know, like, consider the soul and not the body. Basically, the sum of these 2 verses to be, as far as knowledge is concerned, we understand that soul is eternal and it is undying. So this is what is covered from verses 18.10 to 18.21. I'll stop here for you. I was thinking 10 minutes. I don't know if I use the time there.
Covered more than 20 minutes.
Gosh.
Thank you, Mataji. It's very well presented, actually. You have the overall flow. The presentation itself is very, very good, very strong. Yeah. And also gave good examples. That's very important. Concepts should be coupled with examples so that audience can relate to the subject better. And you also overall summarized at the end, which is a good thing in any presentation. And yeah, overall the material is also very well understood by you. You have good references, and Yeah, it was a very good presentation.
Thank you, Prabhuji. All glory to Radhesham Prabhuji and Gaurav Prabhuji and Chaitanya Prabhuji.
Only feedback is yeah, time. We have crossed. Maybe everybody should keep to their time. I don't want to stop you in the middle. So just see that you are able to cover in time. Yeah, and yeah, I don't see much. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sridhar Gopal Prabhu. Anybody else have say?
Yes, Mataji, very nice, Mataji. That connectivity between each and every topic is really good, actually. And that flow chart which you presented, that gives the good understanding of what we're going to talk and how the topics are related to each other. It's very well presented, Mataji. Excellent. Thank you so much.
I prepared it so that I wanted to understand the flow. Otherwise, it's very difficult for me to.
Very nice,
understand.
Mataji. Very
Hare
nice.
Krishna, Daiviradhika, it was very good. Especially the front flow chart itself gave a very good picture of understanding of all the coming up verses and the relativity of each verse. And the transition was really good, and it's very understandable for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Aditya. And Sakitri also helped me share Gaurav Darshan Prabhu's content. I didn't have the book to board in, so she shared and
Yeah, pretty much. I also made from all those Radhesham Prabhu's class. The examples, especially Prabhu gives, are very amazing. Radhesham Prabhu, and we can very well connect with the verse and we can understand it really well practically. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sridhar Gopal Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Correct. Yes, sir. Let me share this thing. The system is slow today somehow.
so much content that it can't present.
Mataji, I opened so many windows. Yeah. Can you see my screen, Prabhuji?
Not that yeah, now we can.
This one. Let me explain. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जन शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Prabhuji, thank you, Bhaji Prabhuji, for giving me the opportunity to speak today. And Prabhuji allocated me this Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, slokas from 22 to 28. So based on my understanding, from the previous senior Vaishnavas, their presentations, I collected these details and gathered here. And during my presentation, if you feel that anything great, that all credit goes to all my Siksha Gurus, Srila Prabhupada and previous Acharyas. And if anything is a mistake, that is just because of my ignorance, please kindly forgive me. And at the end, please kindly correct me also. Thank you, Prabhuji. I will start. So in Shloka 22, in the previous presentation, Devi Radhika Mataji talked about Jnana in the mode of goodness and Jnana in the mode of passion. And here I'm going to talk about the Jnana in ignorance, actually. And next Shloka 23 to 25, this section, Srila Prabhupada talks about work, karma in the three modes, actually. And then in Shloka from 26 to 28, Prabhupada in the purports gave about worker, karta in three modes. In overall, we'll say about what is karma in three modes, and then karta in three modes. Okay. So in karma, in the knowledge in ignorance. So what Prabhupada is saying is the knowledge by which one is attached to one type of work as all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager. So here, if you see in the purport, what Prabhupada is saying is, so the knowledge of the common man. When you say common man, so any person who has taken birth in this material world. So here we are referring to the common man, not the previous acharyas who has taken birth like Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, everyone. All acharyas, all Goswamis, they take birth into this material world not because of enjoyment. They came here to elevate the insignificant souls like him. So I'm here, Prabhupada is referring based on my understanding, knowledge of the common man. This common man will be in ignorance. Why? Because he's in ignorance, because they have only the knowledge about the knowledge limited to the body, because they knowledge limited to the body, because since as we know that the reason we came onto this material world because of our propensities to enjoy. We want to enjoy independence of Krishna. So that is the root cause of our existence in this material world. So that's why, since we came with that kind of ignorance in mind, so our knowledge is limited to the body. So when such a common man, because he has that knowledge, if he has not developed knowledge through the authorities or scriptural injunctions, so it is not the real knowledge. So what Prabhupada is saying is, for these kind of common people, for him, the main intention, even though the God is money, so their perspective is how to earn money, how to do the sense gratification for his own body. So that is their main intention. So for them, knowledge means implies satisfaction of the bodily demands. So mainly they concentrate about their sense gratification. They identify himself as a body, since from the previous birth, from the root, they have the propensities for sense gratification. So for them, everything is money, and everything, whatever they do in terms of the money for their own bodily sense gratification. In the same way, Prabhupada is saying, no connection with the absolute truth. So since knowledge is completely attached to the body, knowledge is completely attached to the family relationships and for enjoyment, proportionality, sense gratification. So this knowledge, since as long as this knowledge is not connected to the absolute truth, connected to the Krishna, this knowledge is a waste. It's an ordinary animal. That means a common man who is having this kind of knowledge only related to the body for the only sense gratification, you say it like a animal knowledge. So we should have the connectivity. So in this purport, what we are saying is, this is the knowledge mode of ignorance. So what a common man, what is the understanding of a common man, what kind of knowledge he has. But now, how to get this real knowledge, we'll see in the next slides actually. So in summary, quick summary. So knowledge about the spirit soul beyond this body is sattva guna. So we know that till now in 22 talks about the knowledge of a common man, but knowledge about the spirit soul beyond this body is called the sattva guna. And knowledge about producing the theories by the dint of mundane logic and speculation is rasoguna. And knowledge about keeping only the material body is tamoguna. So we need to understand what is the spirit soul, what is knowledge about spirit soul, which talks about, okay, what is our identity, what is our relationship with the Supreme Lord, what is the purpose of our life. This is called the spiritual knowledge. So one has to gain this knowledge, whatever the duties that we are doing in this material world, we have to dovetail our activities with the Lord. And at the same time, we need to have this kind of knowledge, spiritual knowledge. So from the practical application perspective, so how to gain knowledge about the spirit soul? So any material knowledge, practical in this material world, we can get material knowledge, bodily, how to earn money, how to earn fame, wealth, everything, in so many ways, right, as we know. But understanding, getting the knowledge of this transcendental knowledge of the spiritual science, heart science, spirit soul, we'll get only when we approach a spiritual master. As we know that Krishna says, Tadidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevya Padeshanti Te Jnanam Jnaninam Tattva Darshana. So when we approach a spiritual master with the submission and ask inquiry with inquisitiveness, not like to question the spiritual master, and with a submission mode and to learn by understanding our insignificant position, then the knowledge, the spiritual master, with the mercy, he gives the knowledge to us. So that's how we can get the spiritual knowledge from the spiritual master. So how we can come out of the mode of ignorance? So since people, many of us, including me, we are in the mode of ignorance from even before coming to Krishna consciousness, right? So we did not have any knowledge about the Bhagavad Gita. But how to come out? That we can come out of this ignorance only because by approaching a spiritual master, by taking the association of the Vaishnavas, by doing the Shravanam, by reading the books, everything, we can come out of the ignorance. So if you take an example of if we are fallen into a quicksand, can we come out of that? We cannot come out of that, right? So the only way is through the association of the devotees, through the association of the Vaishnavas, and through the mercy of the Guru, they can lift us from the mode of ignorance into the higher modes. Okay. So that is 18.22. And next, text 23. Here, Prabhupada says that action, which is, this is in this section now we talk about the action and goodness, karma and goodness. So the action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive activity is said to be in the mode of goodness. So any activity that we are doing, it should be connected to the Vedic scriptures. It should be connected to the Shastras. It should be, we should follow in the footsteps of the Acharyas. That is called in the mode of good. That kind of activity, when we do that, that is in the mode of goodness. So, and at the same time, we should not expect for the fruitive desires. So person who is doing activity, if he is not expecting any results out of whatever activity is doing, that means he is in the mode of, that action is in mode of goodness. So perform without attachment, without love or hatred. So we should not be performing any activity without love or without hatred. So now from the practical standpoint of view, I want just to provide some highlights on this one. So Prabhupada, he's saying here, so performing the activity without attachment. So how can we perform the activities without attachment? So if you take an example, material world also. So if you want to buy a car, so I need to earn money. So for that, I need to do some activity, right? So that means previously I had that sense object in mind. So I want to achieve that. To achieve that, I need to do some action. But without that, how can I do that? So something should be there to perform an action, right? But Prabhupada is saying that here, without perform an activity without attachment. So how can we do that? So my understanding here was, so we need to attach, if you want to if you want to perform any activity without the attachment, means we need to attach to the higher cause. That means we need to attach to the Krishna. We need to attach to ourselves to the Vedic scriptures. When we do that, automatically the attachment to the activities will go away. So by that way, we can attach to Krishna and we can detach to the activities that we are doing. So that way we can do activities without attachment. Now, how to perform activity without love or hatred? Now we can say sometimes saying that, okay, even myself, okay, I want to do that service because I like that. I don't want to do this service because I don't like that. Or sometimes I want to do this service because my previous our Vaishnavas, senior Vaishnavas told me to do that. So how can we do the service without love or hatred? So if we want to do that, my understanding here is, if you want to do anything like that, so we have to think that we are doing the service not for our own pleasure. We are doing the service only for the pleasure of the Guru and Krishna, for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, for the pleasure of the Siksha Gurus or Diksha Gurus, for the pleasure of Krishna. So when we have that mindset in mind, then we can perform any activity without attaching to that. Everything we think that, okay, we are doing this activity because we want to please Krishna. So if we have that kind of mindset, attitude in mind, that gratitude towards Krishna, because he gave this opportunity to perform service, right? If we have that mindset in mind, then we can perform any services without love or hatred. And next thing is how to get rid of desires for fruitive activities. So now we know that what is the purpose of we came into this material world, and because we entangled into this material world, we know that how the karma works. When we know that if you attach to the fruitive results, again it binds us to the karma that will go on again and again, cycle of birth and death again, right? So if we have this knowledge, clarity in mind, then it's possible that we cannot attach to results fruitive activities. It takes a long time. It's not a one-time activity. This requires a lot of association with the Vaishnavas who are already following the regulative principles. And at the same time, we need to we need to have submission. We need to have a gratitude towards Acharyas. They have given plenty of knowledge to our Srila Prabhupada. He gave so much of, we cannot even imagine whatever it's what in lifetimes, hundreds and thousands of millions of lifetimes, whatever we gain credit. Even if you give that to Srila Prabhupada, it's very, very, very less. That kind of transcendental knowledge and opportunities Prabhupada has created for us. So if we have that kind of a gratitude, that kind of gratitude, we can easily come out of that. And at the same time, is it possible to perform activity without self-satisfaction or self-gratification? referring to the same point, yes, we can do that only if we can do that, because if you think that Krishna says Bhoktaram Igna, whatever we do, he is the main enjoyer, he is the main controller, he is the main proprietor. When we understand in reality that this whatever we want, it just belongs to Krishna. Whatever we are doing, it's not because of us. We take the example, right? We have so many zeros. Without one, there's nothing. So if you have that understanding, and if you practice that in the association of devotees, we can, over a period of time, we can develop that thinking of, okay, we have to do this duty, not for our own satisfaction. I want to do chanting not because I want to get happiness. I'm doing service not because I want to get happiness. I'm doing service, I want to do chant because my guru will be happy, Krishna will be happy. So that kind of attitude will develop over a period of time. So that is 18.23. And next 18.24, action in the mode of passion. So here Prabhupada is saying, but action performed with great effects by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. So action with great effort by one seeking to gratify his senses. So any action that is done for his own sense gratification comes into this bucket of mode of passion. It is enacted, it comes from the mode of false ego. Since we know that the main root cause of everything is identifying ourselves, as we know that Ahankara means we are identifying ourselves as a body. We are thinking that we're separate from Krishna. So when we think that we are independent of Krishna, we are identifying ourselves as a body, then we think that, okay, my body needs this kind of comforts. So when we are put into the zone of taking care of the body, then we say that, okay, I want this, I want that. So this is called more actions in the mode of passion. And next, so the karma and the passion as a summary. So this is done with great labor. So the people who has this kind of mindset, they put a lot of efforts to get this kind of results. And they do this one with the seeking to gratify their own senses. They always try to satisfy the senses. Senses could be understanding the tongue. We know that different kind of sense object, different kind of senses, satisfying the mind, satisfying the tongue, satisfying the eye, satisfying the skin, everything. So many ways sense enjoyment. Say they always look for this kind of sense enjoyment. And they do it with false ego. Whatever they do, they achieve something. They think that they are the complete doership. It is just happening because of their own efforts. So that false ego is the main root cause of everything. So from the practical standpoint, so examples from scriptures who performed activities to gratify his senses because of Ahankara. As we take the topmost example word for this one is Duryodhana. Because of his Ahankara, he wants to think that he is great. He just to show that because of his Ahankara, he created so many problems to everyone, right? So he is one of the top example of how to gratify senses because of Ahankara, Duryodhana. And what is the root cause of false ego? As we know that because we are identifying ourselves as a body, and we want to enjoy ourselves. So because of that, that is the root cause for the false ego. And examples from scriptures who impacted by the Ahankara, another examples like Durvasa Muni, right? So because of his Ahankara, so he tried to punish Ambarish Manas, right? And this is one example. And Shishupala Ahankara. And so many examples you can say about Ahankara. And next 18.25. Prabhuji.
Want to wrap up with this
Yes,
slide?
I'll go faster. Yes, yes. So text 25.
So
So
you don't
actions.
cover everything else. You presented enough.
Yes, Prabhuji.
This is not about content presentation. It is more about, improvements in the style of presentation. It's not about.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. So the action that is performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunctions and without concern of for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. And in summary, so karma in ignorance leads to bondage by yamadutas, and it's destructive and harmful to self and others, and without considering consequences and disregarding scriptures, and they'll be in illusion. And in 18.26, here this section talks about the workers. Till now we have talked about the this from karma. And here workers in the mode of goodness. So one who performs his duty with association with the modes of material nature without false ego, with great determination, enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be in the mode of goodness. So Karta in mode of goodness, he is detached, he is devoid of false ego, and he is determined, he is enthusiastic, and he is unwavering in success or failure. So Arjuna, we take the best example, who is unwavering for success or failure. And workers in the mode of passion. So the worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy these fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. In summary, so karta and passion, he is attached to work, he desires to enjoy the results, he is always greedy, he is envious, he is impure, he is subject to joy and sorrow. Such a persons have no desire for higher elevation of life. Last one. So worker in the mode of ignorance. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scriptures, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. So in summary, karta in ignorance. So he acts against the scriptures. He is materialistic and whimsical. Without referring to any scriptures, he will work, he will act, and he is obstinate, stubborn, and he has cheating mentality, and he is expert in insulting others without thinking anything, and he is lazy, morose, and procrastinating. Hari bol. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Sorry, I took more time.
Helpful. No worries.
Sorry.
Yeah. So when there is a class or presentation, so think about how much you can really cover.
Yeah.
And yeah, presentation can be a little more structured.
Yeah.
Like we saw with Radhika Mataji. Yeah. Yeah, but it has good applications. You covered the overall themes and with examples, which is very good.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare
So
Krishna.
not about how much you cover, it's about whether you covered everything that should be covered in the presentation. Yeah. So examples, summary, practical applications. Just try to
Yeah.
cover these aspects, and that will, benefit people.
Sure. Hare.
Yeah. Okay. Next one.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravan Prachari So today I'll be presenting Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 text 43 to 48. So am I audible? Can you see my slides? No?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sharing, right?
Not sharing. No, I can't see.
Can you see now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, thank you. All right. So Bhagavad Gita 18.43. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work of a Kshatriya. So this is the translation for this verse. So here Krishna is talking about what are the qualities of Kshatriya. So we have seen Kshatriya in movies, and we kind of show them as the heroes, that they do a lot of have all these qualities. So everyone is born with a nature. When we are born, we have certain natures, and how much ever we try, we can't change some of those natures. So the natures which we are born with. So I think nowadays we can kind of relate to Kshatriyas as the soldiers in the border. And those days, Kshatriyas are the kings who are responsible to protect the kingdom, protect the people. And I think for us in all these software and all these stuff, we can see people who are in leadership and leaders who are managing people. So here, major qualities of a Kshatriya in those days who go to battle and fight, they have these heroic qualities and they are so courageous and they are willing to take risks and also be adventurous. And nowadays we can see people jumping from here and there. I mean, you can see when they have those qualities, if we ask them to be very sattvic, go perform brahmana work, it is very difficult for them. When I think as parents, we have to identify like what are our kids' qualities, and if they are leaning towards certain areas, we can't kind of suppress them. Everyone have to exhibit some way, exhibit their qualities. Their nature will come out even how much ever we suppress. And if they are performing in a different role, they'll be unhappy throughout their life. So it is very, very important for us to know, first of all, our nature and work according to that nature. So it may not relate to going to the battle and fighting, but if somebody has leadership qualities and they are kind of suppressed and doing Sudra work, listening to the orders, they will be unhappy in life. So, and those days, kings, they don't run away from battle and they are very strong and they get things by having determination and leadership qualities, and they mostly deal with people. And Kshatriyas are needed in the society because they need, there needs to be someone who has to have authority, and so that are Kshatriyas, and that is, every role is needed in the world. So there is no only one role should be there. So all the roles are needed. Some of the examples of Kshatriya is Hanumanji in service of Lord Ram. So he showed leadership qualities, strength, heroism, determination, courage. So all that in service of Lord Ram. Whichever nature we are doing as a service to the Lord. And I think some other examples we can see. Durva, he is a Kshatriya, even though a 5-year-old is exhibiting their nature, their qualities. A Kshatriya cannot tolerate insult. And I'm ready to leave the house, go to the forest and suffer. So that is Durva. We can see the nature of even a 5-year-old. And the Pandavas. And I think once when the Pandavas in the forest, Duryodhana kind of instigated him. Also, Yudhishthira, you are so forgiving. You have all these Brahmana qualities. Why are you going and fighting for the land? Why can't you just forgive and move on? But for a Kshatriya, and even I exactly don't remember, but he asks Krishna. Krishna says, it is, I mean, or I'm not sure where this comes. It is better to die than to beg. So that is the quality of Kshatriya. It's and they cannot go hide, beg, and live their life. It is for them, it is life or death. So that is the nature of Kshatriya. So the next one is the qualities of Vaishya. What are the qualities of Vaishya? Vaishya are people who do agriculture, cow protection. They have their own business, traders. They are the Vaishyas. And Shudras serve all other Varnas. So Shudras serve Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. What type of service? They do all kind of things. Cleaning, cooking, washing, working for them. If there is a Vaishya, they have a farm, do agriculture, they go and work in their farm. And they have their store, do business, those kind of stuff. And by following his qualities, every man can become perfect. Now, please hear from me how this can be done. I think the reason I put this picture, I couldn't find Krishna. So the legs are the Sudras, which is the service. The legs is serving the body. Vaishyas is sustenance. It is the stomach which does the sustenance of this whole body. That is Vaishya. And Kshatriyas, we use the arms to do any work. So that's the defense. If somebody comes to attack us, we use our arms to defend. That's a Kshatriya. And Brahmana, we use our head to think, knowledge, gain knowledge. So those are the relatives. And I think this one has a lot of content. So I'll kind of briefly go through. Hope I am in time. Okay, so I think I still have 7 minutes left.
It's okay.
Okay. So Bhagavad Gita 18.46. By worshipping of Lord, who is the source of all beings, who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. So basically here this verse is saying that the Lord is source of all of us, who is maintaining all of us. And based on our nature, if we do our work based on our nature, always thinking of the Lord and worshipping Him, just by that we can attain perfection. Just by doing our work based on our nature and dedicating the work to Him and by worshipping Him. So, how do we worship the Lord through the work? So, I mean, we are supposed to work with detachment, devotion, and dutifulness. So when they say work with detachment, what does it mean to work with detachment and not care about results? So any work we do, we are attached to result. I put in so much work, office work. I need my manager to recognize that. So how do I work not caring about the result? How am I not, I'm spending 8 hours, how am I not be detached to that? So we have to, here Krishna is emphasizing the result is depending on the factors beyond our control. It's, I could do the best thing, which I think, but somebody is looking at me may perceive differently. So sometimes it is beyond our control. Things may go wrong, but we have to be patient. We all might have experienced that. We put in work, but then we don't get the results. Krishna will give us experience if we don't, so that we get that realized knowledge. The theory becomes realized. So we're supposed to gracefully accept whatever results come from the divine arrangement. So that is a lifelong practice. So this life is to practice these words. So how do we work with devotion? So every day when we do the work, we are supposed to see it like I am doing this to please the Lord. There is no other purpose for this work. The only goal for me is to please the Lord. I have to do something every day. I have this job. I'm doing this to please the Lord. I think recently somebody said the practical way to apply this is before doing anything, say that, Krishna, I'm offering this to you. I don't know how to do this, right? I don't know how to please you. So, but I'm trying my best to please you. Before doing anything, we're kind of saying that I'm doing this for your pleasure. So, and what pleases him most? It's not the result, but the endeavor. How sincerely we are endeavoring, the earnestness in our endeavor. He sees our eagerness, and he sees our eagerness to offer our heart to him. So basically, when we are saying a prayer, offering to the Lord before we do something, we are saying the prayer from the heart. And Krishna doesn't want our work. Krishna doesn't want my salary. And Krishna is not interested in my work, in my salary, in my results, in any of that. He just is interested in my heart. What does my heart wants? What is my heart saying? So our heart is what he actually wants. So by such work, our heart becomes increasingly attracted to him. Let's say I don't do it, but I just heard recently. So let's say if we are doing every single day, not everything, at least 3 things. I'm saying, Krishna, from the heart, I'm doing this for you. If I'm saying from the heart and I'm getting closer to Krishna, so that way, here this line says our heart becomes increasingly attracted to him. And we realize that he's far more valuable than any worldly results of our work. So basically, this is a transaction between the heart. So that's what we should be thinking about. And he is the ultimate treasure. So it's not about the work, it's not about the result, it is about the heart. What is my heart beating? What is my heart saying? Am I connecting with the Lord or am I disconnected? The connection is what we have to establish throughout the day. So work is not automatically, people say work is worship, but it is not a worship. When work is done with the values of dutifulness, detachment, and devotion, it becomes a form of worship. Then it becomes worship. When they say work is worship, before doing it, if I am offering to the Lord with devotion, then it's a worship. When we offer prayers, Arati, it is worship. I am offering ghee lamp to the Lord. I'm offering the ghee lamp. So work, I'm offering this to you, Lord. When we are kind of seeing that Arati and the work as equal, as devotion, then it becomes worship. Worshipping in the altar and sitting in Costco working, I should be able to see that same. This is worship if my heart is connected. If my heart is disconnected, I am doing it for myself. There's no Krishna there. When we work with devotion, our consciousness becomes increasingly filled with Krishna, leaving no space for worldly allurements and propelling us towards supreme liberation in Krishna. So the consciousness have to change and we have to fill our heart with Krishna. There is no space for anything else. And the only goal is the Lord. So that is 47 and 48. Every endeavor is covered with some fault, just as a fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. So when if we can imagine a fire and there is smoke. Fire is pure, but the smoke is impure. So like that, the example is, so the work is, although fire is pure, there is still smoke. So here in our whatever we are doing, there is always contamination. We cannot be pure because of the material nature. So just because there is some contamination, we can't give up work. I think some of the example is, as a Kshatriya, they're supposed to kill. As soldiers guarding the country, they're supposed to kill the enemies. We can say, oh, this is contamination. So should I give up being a Kshatriya or a soldier? No, still do it. And as a Vaishya, you're supposed to say lies. I have to sell this product. Oh, I can, there is no profit. I'm just doing it for you. So you're such a nice customer. Like last week, I met somebody who was just selling these products, jewelry, and she was saying, oh, we don't get it from Tamil Nadu, we get it from North India. I was then after that, I'm thinking, really, she just trying to say that. So, I mean, in business, they are supposed to say lies to please the customer. That doesn't mean that it is impure. That work is still pure. And as a Shudra, we have managers. The manager is whatever, like the person may be not a good person. They might be doing a lot of things, but you have to smile and do your job. Oh my God, yes, 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 right? Like you just have to pretend. So, I mean, that does, so this is impure. So all those pretensions are impure, but the work itself is pure. So we just have to go on, and even though work is full of fault, we just have to continue. I think there's one more verse, or is it done? Oops.
Yeah.
I think 48, right? Yeah, I'm done, I think. Ooh. Okay. I thought, okay, I thought I had more. Anyways.
That's okay, Mats.
So summarizing Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, work, how to do work. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you. I think you went little detailed, which is good. Each verse. Just give me a sec. Yeah. So we went little analytical and little more detail, which is good. Conclusion can be little more elaborate.
I was just worried about the time, Prabhu. So I already saw 18 minutes. So
Yeah, so in that case, you should reduce the content so that we can cover that. Can be more, somewhat more practical examples specific to each verse. Yeah, overall, very good presentation. Yeah, we'll cover the last one. Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chikshiranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Prabhuji, to present. And please kindly forgive me for the presentation. It's not that great comparative to all the senior devotees in this presentation. So please kindly forgive me, Prabhuji, and bear with me for 10 minutes. I'll try my best to do that. And I'm presenting. So everybody can see the screen, Prabhuji?
Not yet, Mataji. Are you
Oh,
sharing?
no, okay. I started sharing. 1 second, Prabhuji. Krishna. Second, sorry. Now, can you see, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mother, we can see.
Yeah, sure. Sorry for the delay. And I'm presenting Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 49 to 57. So where it takes from karma to jnana to bhakti yoga. I'm not able to take this window. Yeah. So verse overall summary, like verse 18.49 to 18.57. So Lord Sri Krishna is telling how we move to bhakti through process of jnana. So verse 49 to 53, he describes jnana in brief. And verse 54, jnana is leading to bhakti. And verses 55 to 57, it's parabhakti, which takes us to Krishna. So verses in depth. So verse 49, it is Lord Shri Krishna is speaking about detachment, which happens in 3 ways. So that is Asakta Buddhi, Jitatma, and Vigataspruha. That means unattached intelligence and controlling of mind. And Vigataspruha means one without any material desires. So Lord is talking about how to detach in 3 ways. So here we see like the renounced order of life. Like here Lord is telling like we have to renounce, by the renounced order of life, we can get to the highest perfectional stage of freedom. So in the Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji's presentation, I mean Bhakti Shastri lecture I was hearing. So Varnashrama, here they are talking about Varnashrama, but purpose of Varnashrama is to worship Lord Vishnu. So Varnashrama itself, it is not bhakti. Even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said like he's not identifying himself with Varnashrama. Instead, he's identifying himself as the servant of the Supreme Lord. So only through that way we can progress in the spiritual path. So that leads to the perfectional stage of spiritual path, that is the bhakti itself, but not the Varnashrama process. So this is this verse, it is stressing on that. And next verse 50, which is Jnana Sadhana. So this is gradual process of Jnana. So through that one can attain perfection. And that through the gradual process of Jnana, one can raise to the transcendental platform. So this text 50 is talking about that. I mean, Lord Shri Krishna is telling about Jnana process, and slowly they can raise to the transcendental platform. And take next verse is text 51 to 53. And this verse is clearly talking how to disconnect from the material world. So, and here it is also talking about how to purify our intelligence. So we have to purify our intelligence because, as we know, lust is the place intelligent. So lust resting place is intelligence also. So when we purify our intelligence, all our desires will be controlled, and thereby we can raise to the transcendental platform and conquer the lust. So determination. So one should have a strong determination to achieve the sense control and progress in the spiritual path. So when we confront ourselves with our lower material desires, there are 4 stages which happens. One is helpless failure, struggle and success, and effortless success. So helpless failure means like we are not at all even giving a try to control and have strong determination and control our senses. And next stage is we struggle a lot, but still we are in a failure stage. So when we come to this Krishna conscious path, initially we struggle a lot to do certain things to control, but still we remain as a failure. And the next stage is struggle and success. So we are struggling a lot, but of course we are getting some success out of it. And the last thing is effortless success, where without even our struggle, we are on the success path. That means we have controlled our senses with a strong determination. So determination is very important to progress in the spiritual path. Without our effort and our strong determination, we cannot progress just depending on Krishna. Like, I mean, we are telling like Krishna will take care, but still we have to put our own efforts to happen, to progress in this path. So, and even this verse talks about how to shut out all sense objects and becoming free ourselves from raga and dvesha, and one stays how to stay away from the material association and how to eat very minimal, so that we can focus more on the spiritual path, and thereby one comes to the transcendental platform, disconnecting themselves from the material world. And finally, they reach the Brahma Bhuta platform stage. That is, person becomes self-satisfied internally and thereby attains the Brahma Bhuta platform. So, text 54, which is very important. It says, Brahma Bhuta prasannatma nasochati nakangshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. So one thus transcendentally situated, he realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He's equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So this verse is clearly talking about person who transcended the material reality. So he's attained the Parabhakti stage. Because in mode of goodness also we have hankering and lamentation present. So when we come to this transcendental platform, then we don't have any hankering and lamentation for material things. So bhakti comes only when we move to this transcendental platform. And this verse is talking about how we can know Krishna. We can know Krishna only by devotional service. So when we know Krishna only by devotional service, we enter into the kingdom of the Supreme Lord. So here impersonalists say, Vishate, especially the word Vishate which comes in this verse, the impersonalists say, we are merging into the Supreme Lord and we have no identity. But the analogy given is like a green bird entering a green tree. Doesn't mean it is merging with the tree, but the green bird has its own identity and it's enjoying the fruits of the tree. So similarly, we also enter the spiritual kingdom and we have our own spiritual identity, and there we are serving that Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even there is a Rupa Goswami analogy which says, like the people say, like river goes into the ocean analogy. When we say, they say like river is going and merging with the ocean. It's not separate after it merges into the ocean. But Rupa Goswami clearly says we are aquatics in the river. So when the river goes and merges with the ocean also, the aquatics remain as a separate identity. So they're going into the ocean, but not merging with the ocean. Similarly, we are also entering the spiritual kingdom and we are serving the Supreme Lord. And Krishna is clearly saying, then one who serves me by devotional service, then they can know me as he is, like the original person. And only here, Lord is saying, by my mercy only, one can attain the eternal destination. This is, I think in text 56, it's clearly speaking about bhakti again. Sarva karmani, whatever karma we do, but if we take shelter of Krishna, then we can attain that eternal destination. And Lord is saying, by my mercy. So it is clearly talking about Bhakti Yoga, because Krishna is saying it's by my mercy only they enter. So Krishna is revealing himself here. Through his mercy, we can attain that eternal kingdom. So we have to surrender unto Krishna and take shelter of Krishna. And whatever activity we do, then it becomes Bhakti Yoga. And only devotee knows Krishna, whereas Jnana Yogi and Karma Yogi, he can't know Krishna because he's not doing pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. He's just working for his material sense gratification. And verse 18.57, which talks about Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi means like Krishna is giving us that intelligence to practice Bhakti. So Buddhi Yoga is also called as Bhakti Yoga. So in all the activities we do, our consciousness, like we are offering ourselves to Krishna, making Lord the supreme goal of our life. So that is Buddhi Yoga. And through that Buddhi Yoga, we are reaching the stage of Matparaha. That is our only goal in life, is acting in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna. Just that is our main goal. Not like just pleasing Krishna in whatever activities we do, like whatever services we do, that is just to please Krishna, not our senses. And one should act only according to the order of Krishna. So acting in order of Krishna. Now Arjuna has Krishna in front of him, so he's acting whatever Krishna is saying, but we don't have that opportunity. But whatever our spiritual master, who is the bona fide representative of Krishna, whatever our spiritual master says, we have to follow his directions and do our services sincerely. In that way, we can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is Bhakti Yoga. So the practical application is, we have to just take the order of our spiritual master as the prime duty of our life. So that is the one which gives us perfection in life, and our Krishna consciousness is guaranteed. So we should follow the order of our spiritual master. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It's a very short presentation. I'm so sorry. I'll try to improve my best for the next presentation, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
You did very well, actually.
Oh, thank you, Prabhuji. I'll try. I was so I was doing when I saw all the other presentations, I was thinking, oh Krishna, I wrote only 10 lines only.
Yours is nice, crisp and
But
nice.
everybody feels like that, man, because
Everybody feels like you.
everybody is like you only. Everybody is also thinking like that.
Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah.
That's good, and your mood is also good, which is enhancing the overall presentation. Yeah. So overall, I think one thing everybody can look into is having connectivity between slokas. When you explain the which Daivi Radhika Mataji did very well. Others can also do. They are everybody and attempted, but we can overall as a team we can go take that one step ahead. Examples, simple examples. Verses will be easy to understand when there are easy examples. And summarization and practical applications. You have all covered. Just see that it's very natural. The examples are easy to grasp. Thank you very much. Anybody else has anything to say? We're almost at 15 more minutes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, the coming up presentations, Prabhu, the NOI and NOD. So I'll be doing the first one. So there is something called preface. So should I also go overview of all the NOI, like the coming up verses, or just the talk about the verse which I'm going to talk? Okay.
So this is not about content presentation. We all have
Sure.
studied this.
Okay.
What you cover when you present it, right? So the
Okay.
idea is all of you should at some point in future either be a second teacher or a primary teacher at some point, right? So that's the goal. Because without the next generation signing up, it's difficult to take this movement forward, who will in a systematic way, right? So this the idea of getting Bhakti Shastri certificate is you all actively participate in teaching and helping in teaching like that, So you should all at some point think about that.
This is very good, Prabhuji. This gives us the opportunity.
You hear from others, you hear from
Hear from everybody, and it gives us opportunity to talk and consolidate, as you mentioned, and we can take the feedback also. Very good feedback we can collect. Yeah.
Repeatedly you hear feedback. Even though you don't try, it becomes part of your next presentation.
Correct. See, whatever it is given today, we will take it to next presentation. Right? Yeah, very good. Yeah.
So that's why 2-3 presentations are there.
So the timing is 10 minutes per person, Prabhu, or 10 to 15 minutes?
Yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you do 10-12 minutes, then you can have others give you feedback. And it's not about how much content you presented. As I said, it's not content review. That happens during the classes. This is about presentation. More about presentation. Okay? Yeah. Thank you all very much. See you next week.
So Hare Krishna Prabhu, once again, I want to congratulate everyone for the first presentation. We have to just be moral support for each other. To be the okay, cheer. Yes, we did it. Hare Krishna. Awesome, Saki Priya Mataji, Daivi Radhika Mataji, Sridhar Gopal Prabhu, and Chandana Mataji. Wonderful one. We are going to finish this month. Let's support each other, encourage each other so we can be done with this.
I had to thank Saki Priya Mataji especially because Mataji was motivating me all the time. Prabhuji, did you prepare? Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, because I have to finish because I'm going to India on June 15th. So I'm also packing and a lot of other things are also going on. So maybe, I don't know if I'm doing a great one because my Krishna Murli Prabhu was not happy with the way I was preparing because he was telling me that you need to listen to a lot of lectures and get a lot of, especially nice Maharaja's lectures on the particular Bhagavad Gita topic, and and then take good pointers from it and present it. That way we learn a lot, but I didn't do justice to whatever I did because of all the short time. But maybe going forward, I think I want to listen more, and because this is a very, as Daivaradhika Mataji was telling, first hearing and understanding for ourselves is main thing, and then presenting it. So that part I really liked it, because when I prepare, I was able to realize certain things, and understand, rather than preparing for a test or a written test examination. So it was very good journey, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank
Prabhu,
you.
when you say content is not important, presentation is important, what do you mean by that? Like when you say presentation is, what is, I mean, I don't get what you're saying.
So it's about, because we have only 15 minutes, so within 15 minutes, if you are given a chance to speak somewhere, what all aspects to cover, that is the presentation part. So examples, connectivity, understanding. So people should be able to understand what you say. So those aspects should be covered. Whether the philosophy is well understood by you is not tested. That is already covered in your tests and verses, all those other, listening. So there is a baseline that you understood this content. Of course, what you present should be meaningful. I mean, that is the basic thing that will be covered automatically. But that, given that is there, these other aspects, that's what you are learning now, which is how do I present, what all to cover, whether I'm sequencing correctly, whether there is linkage, whether there are examples, whether there are practical applications, whether I'm saying connects to the person. Like after the class, even if it is 1 hour or 40 minutes or 30 minutes, say you gave a class today, go to temple, maybe you meet him again. Prabhu, you were there in the class. What are the 2 key points you learned? There should be something that sticks out to the person. So it's like that. So you yourself, as part of preparation, you have clarity on what is the core content I'm giving. Am I connecting the dots well, the verses well? And what is my overall takeaway for the person who is the audience? So those things are important. When you present it, that comes out. If at the end of the presentation, if nobody took away anything, more or less it is didn't do the justice for the time the person attended. So those are very critical aspects. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Is that clear?
Yes, true. So also, if anybody has any feedback for me, please share.
Yeah.
What I can do better next time.
Guruji, one more quick question. So while presenting, can we refer the references from, let us say that next is NOI, right? So if it is related, can we refer Bhagavad Gita references? Can we do that, or only limited to that only?
You can refer anything within
Yeah.
our own Gaudiya scriptures, right?
Bhagavatam, probably Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah.
Right.
Any other questions?
Now we have started preparing for the next one now itself.
Your 1 week,
The next 3 months.
3 more. So
Three more.
Paul didn't give me the exam paper.
I'll give Prabhuji. It is there on my table right away. I'll scan right away now. Yeah, I'll give.
Prabhuji, I will come and give it to you at your home by tomorrow morning or today evening. After some time, I can come and give.
Okay, sure. So one other thing, when after these things, you should be ready to help in preaching. Okay. So
Prabhuji, please plan the batches.
yeah, it's not about just giving class. It's about anything related to preaching. Okay, whether it is talking to new people or you are all ready to speak about Krishna consciousness. That's what it is. Okay, whether it anywhere, right? You should be ready to help. It's not just about physical services or setting up tents. It's about also connecting with people. Not everybody is studied in this congregation, right? There are only very few people who have Bhakti Shastri. So with your skills, with your understanding, with your knowledge, you should help to your level best, right? So I would like to engage each of you also. So be ready for it. Okay. Any questions on that? Sujata Radhika is thinking something.
Oh no, Prabhu. So
It's not about
Yeah.
getting certificate only. I just want to clarify.
yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
We are all ready.
We're all what? Ready?
We
Ready.
are all ready, Prabhu. We don't have a choice.
I'll remind you about this that you already told you're ready to help.
Oh, so I'm the only one who said, huh?
What is it?
It's getting recorded, so yeah.
Oops.
I'll send the recording to yourself.
You took an oath.
Took a vow to help in preaching.
Yeah.
Why did you say we don't have a choice or something like that?
No, Prabhu. We are ready to help whatever is needed for Prabhupada's mission.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. See you.
Congratulations,
Hare Krishna.
everybody.
Vancha
Congratulations, sir.
Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol.
I
Wonderful.
think next week when Anand Raman Prabhu and Shyam Mukund Prabhu is there, then we really have to time it to 15 minutes, and then we can maybe send some message somewhere like reactions or somewhere when the screen in the screen it comes up that okay or timer. I mean the slide shows the timer.
Maybe after
That means you are done, right?
Reminder to
maybe Prabhuji, it's 10 minutes or 15 minutes, Prabhuji? 10 or 15, exact.
1
2
second.
hours. So 2 hours, how many people are there, right? Like
7 people are there.
7.
So 12 minutes is okay. 10 to 12 minutes.
10 to 12, okay. So maybe after 5 minutes, maybe one hint saying that 50% of the time is over.
The more presentation doesn't mean anything, and this is not about testing you also. There is no scoring, etc., etc. It's about presenting all the aspects. If you are ready, if you do this 3 times, 4 times, when you talk or when you present somewhere, you will do that. That's what most devotees told. Hari, Krishnavali Prabhu, they all did. So they got habituated to that kind of presentation. Okay? That's the
Hari
whole.
bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your time, Prabhu.
Thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji. Thank you, Hari
Hare
bol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. So at the end of the exams, Prabhu is giving treat.
We have to give treat
Prabhu,
to
we have
ah,
to get it.
for him
I've
to
been
sit here
tolerating us
for
so
2
many
hours,
years.
2
You
hours
know,
hearing to us now.
with the shloka test, all the Zoom tests,
No,
the amount
I'm
of
very
time.
happy to get rid of this batch.
Prabhu, it's an austerity for you to listen to us. So thank you, Prabhu, for doing that.
The reason why I said Prabhu is giving because
Not
he's
like
getting
I
more
also
help,
learned from
right? More help, right?
What is it?
Just I'm kidding. You are getting more help, right, bro? Moving forward. That's what I'm saying. No, just kidding. We will give party to you.
Remember all the time I'm spending for you. Classes,
Yes,
this.
yes.
So you were actually very grateful.
Prabhu, after this, we have to have a potluck, invite Prabhu and make sure find what items Prabhu likes and we cook for him.
Gulab jamuns, Prabhu.
I think he likes biryani. He likes biryani.
Oh, biryani you have to do, Prabhu.
Then
So,
stop and not doing it.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thanks.